And we're live. Welcome, everyone. Today we have a very special guest, Dr. Shobha Rayapudi, a physician, researcher, and public health expert specializing in lifestyle medicine. If you or someone you love struggles with high blood pressure, this conversation could be a game changer. Dr. Shobha is here to reveal how a simple diet swap can help naturally lower blood pressure fast. So before we dive in, don't forget we're bringing you an exclusive bundle packed with resources from plant-based experts, recipe creators, and wellness advocates to help you take control of your health. Download Dr. Shobha's book, Natural Strategies to Lower Your Blood Pressure, in the bundle today. She goes into a lot of detail. We won't get to most of it today, but we're going to touch on the most important thing for you to do today, okay? So, Dr. Shobha, welcome. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, thank you so much, Samantha. It's an honor and pleasure to be here. And I also love the fact that you're also a member of American College of Lifestyle Medicine. And like not many people are aware of that, or not many people are into lifestyle medicine. So I'm really excited to actually like meet people like you who are big advocates of lifestyle medicine.
Yes, and likewise, I love connecting with like-minded physicians and health practitioners, folks who are, at the forefront of change in the system, because a lot of innovation is needed in that space. So I really appreciate you and the resource you created around high blood pressure. I want to start with, why should folks be so concerned about high blood pressure?
I'm glad you asked that question, Samantha, because high blood pressure is the number one risk factor for death. Like almost like one in two people have it, but they don't realize it because the number one symptom of high blood pressure is there are no symptoms. So like unless your doctor is hounding you that you need to take care of it, nobody pays much attention. Or unless you experience a stroke or sudden cardiac death, you don't pay attention to it. And rightfully, it's called a silent killer because the first symptom may be death.
Wow. Wow, that's scary. So,
Yeah.
what's the number one diet swap that people should make then to significantly lower their blood pressure?
So to understand that diet swap, like first of all, like people need to understand what causes high blood pressure. And you might imagine that as a doctor of 20 years with education, that like I would be so aware of this. And this happened like one day my husband comes home and after a hard day of work, I prepare his favorite meal and put it in front of him. And he looks at it and he says, "No, I don't want to eat it." I literally wanted to strangle his neck. I'm like, "What do you mean you don't want to eat it?" And he says, "Just yesterday, I saw this documentary, Forks Over Knives, and your meal has dairy, so I'm not going to eat it." And I just screamed, "What's wrong with dairy? Like, are you out of your mind?" I mean, like, I can understand if you don't want to eat meat because you are a surgeon and you deal with a lot of colon cancer patients. So I know that, okay, red meat is associated with colon cancer, but what's wrong with dairy? And that was the first instance like even that led me to think okay, like we might be thinking that this is healthy. Like I remember my mom like asking me to drink dairy and all that, and we do to our kids. So, and it was quite shocking for me to know that, like, what we are currently eating. I mean, the dairy, meat, or animal products that we are eating is contributing to our high blood pressure. Not only high blood pressure, it's contributing to diabetes, cancer, and all the common chronic conditions that we see nowadays. So
Hmm.
that really opened me. But to your question, what simple diet swap that I can make to um, lower my blood pressure? If you can eliminate dairy in your current diet, that would be a huge thing. I mean, that just that simple change will bring huge results.
And how quickly do you feel like people can see the results when they make that change?
You would be surprised, Samantha. Okay, even before that, let me ask your audience, does anybody have clue like how much saturated fat that is present in dairy? Any guesses, or how much saturated fat is present in dairy? Like by health guidelines, it is recommended that your saturated fat intake should be less than 6% of your calories. And dairy has 60%, like 60% of the calories come from saturated fat, which is quite high. And when you make that, that swap, like what happens is your blood goes from ketchup consistency to vinegar consistency in just
Mm.
half an hour, in just 30 minutes. So it's not that it takes so much long time for you to notice the difference. Just the next meal itself can show you the difference. I conduct workshops, like 3-day workshops, 6 week, 1 year workshop. And when people come to my workshop, they are surprised. The very next day, they see that their blood pressure is coming down. And these people had blood pressure for more than 25 years, and they're surprised that like how fast that blood pressure can come down.
Well, that's really hopeful for folks. I definitely want to ask you a couple questions around this too. I love how you um, brought the visuals in, that you're going basically from ketchup consistency to vinegar, which I think is really helpful for folks to get an understanding of what's going on internally in the body. And wow, dairy is like, wow, that's a lot of fat to be running through
Yes,
the body. That's wow.
yes,
Like,
yeah.
what are some of the common mistakes that you've seen people make when they're trying to lower their blood pressure through diet?
Yeah. So, one thing is obviously when you have blood pressure, you are prescribed medications. And while taking medications, when your blood pressure reading numbers are coming down, you think it's okay for you to continue eating what you're eating. So, you're still continue to eat your bread, bagels, croissants, or pasta. And there are two food groups, so to say, that can increase your high blood pressure. So, one type of food group is which has high glycemic load. So, when I say high glycemic load, is if you combine white flour and sugar and eat that. So, basically, your white bread or white rice or white pastas or your donuts or croissants. Like when you're eating such kind of foods, what is happening is biochemically your body cannot differentiate whether you're eating sugar or whether you're eating processed food. So like your body sees that as just sugar trickling in when you eat that white bread. So when the glycemic load is more, like your body produces more insulin. And more insulin means insulin is also a fat storage hormone. So more fat is packing inside your cells, and it's also packing inside where it should not be. You guys might have heard of visceral fat. So that's the most dangerous kind of fat. So it's packing fat into near your vital organs or near your belly, which you don't want. Not only that, but that insulin spike is also increasing your IGF levels, which are very harmful. I mean, just to put in simple terms, like biochemically, like your body is sensing like high calorie rush, and it needs to do something about it. The other thing is oils. So, like if you eat oil, the oil is absorbed within minutes in your body. But at the same time, like if you're eating oils that are naturally present in nuts, or so, like if you're eating nuts or any whole fats or naturally occurring fats, what is it takes 3 to 4 hours for your stomach to digest that. But oil, it's absorbed in the blood within seconds. So that high calorie load, it actually tells your brain, like it increases your hormone that actually makes you more hungry. So that's not a pleasant state to be in. So this combination of food groups
Mm-hmm.
are increasing your insulin levels, and they are also causing more atherosclerosis inside your blood vessels. And the more plaque deposition and the more atherosclerosis, your blood vessels become more stiff and you have more high blood pressure. So like all like this, I would say this common two food groups are contributing to increased high blood pressure.
So the high glycemic load foods and oil,
Yeah.
which I mean that basically removes all processed foods, right? Ultra processed foods, um, including ice cream, because that was something that was really shocking to me that I discovered last year. Because previously, I've been vegan since 2008, so it's close to 20 years, right?
Uh-huh.
And I used to love So Delicious ice cream, and I used to say, "Man, this
Oh
is
my God,
so
yes.
good that I would work for this company. This ice cream is so good, right?" But then I turned it around finally last year because in the space there's been a lot of talk around ultra processed foods specifically,
Mhm.
and that's like the one thing I feel like, regardless of your dietary theology, um,
Mhm.
we can all agree that ultra processed foods are no good for the body.
Yeah.
And ice cream is one. So I decided to look at So Delicious. And I was really shocked, maybe I shouldn't have been, that oil is in it. Like I expected
Mhm.
sugar to be in it, but oil in
Mhm.
ice cream. And it really turned me off. But it's like, I guess that's what gives it the consistency. So
Yep. Mhm.
yeah, so this is a huge change for a lot of folks. If you're on a journey trying to improve your blood pressure, these are a lot of foods that have become so normalized in our culture. You have a birthday, holiday,
Mhm.
any kind of special occasion, folks are gravitating towards ultra processed foods. But if you have high blood pressure, um, you may want to rethink those choices.
But you know what, Samantha? Like, I know these are the foods we grew up with, and these are the foods we are familiar with. And people might think, oh my God, do I have to give up all these familiar foods? And that's where the bundle comes in. So it's so amazing that this bundle actually shows you how to create recipes without oil, how to create recipes without using foods that are high in saturated fat. So technically, yes, you can still have your ice cream. You can still, so like in this bundle, also there is an ice cream recipe book with 31 flavors which you are making with fruits, and you don't have to be worried about. I mean, so it's not that you have to give up your ice creams. So that's the beauty of it. You can still have your burgers, you can still have your ice creams, fries, all of this made without oil. So how cool is that?
And when you say stuff like that, when you say you can have fries without oil, that's when people are like, "What? How?" You know?
Yes, yes.
How is that possible? Folks scratch their heads and they're confused. For those of you who are on with us live, thank you so much for joining us. Feel free to drop your questions in the chat since we have Dr. Shobha with us. She's here. She can answer any of your questions. I know high blood pressure is really a hot topic. I really want to make sure I get a chance to ask you, for folks who are on medication. I feel like, there have been folks who I've spoke to, who I've worked with, who have been on the plant-based lifestyle for quite a while. And they're still on the medication. And I guess I want to get some understanding of for those who may be asking the question, can I get off the medication, or is this one of those things once you're on it, you can't get off even if you change your diet? How does that work?
So, like, are you asking like they are already on plant-based diet but still having high blood pressure and are on medications?
Yeah, and I wonder about that too, because there's the two where there are folks who they're on the plant-based diet, they're on the high blood pressure medication, and they want to get off. They want the timeline for it, which you've already addressed. But two, once they've cut out all the stuff that you've said, and their blood pressure is fine, I find that folks are still afraid to get off the medicine, or even to have the conversation with their doctor. I mean, I feel like a lot of doctors are like, no, you have to stay on it for forever, because it's one of those things, like you said, your first time could be the only warning you get, and so folks are in fear.
Yeah. So there are two parts to this question. So one is there is fear of getting off medications, thinking that something bad might happen. But let me tell you this: there are side effects to blood pressure medications. So one of the side effect to blood pressure medication is sudden cardiac death or heart attack, and the second side effect is arrhythmias. So, not many people are familiar with this. And the third side effect is your body, like it has, so the higher number, which we call as the systolic number, happens when your heart is contracting. And the lower number, which we call diastolic, is when your heart is relaxing. It's only during relaxation phase of the heart that your heart is able to oxygenate. The blood has to get oxygenated before again it goes outside the heart to provide that blood to all rest of your organs. And if it doesn't get enough oxygen, what happens, you're getting poorly oxygenated blood, which doesn't do any favor. So if with the blood pressure medications, they not only lower the upper number, which is the systolic, but they also lower the diastolic number. And when the diastolic number gets lower, your heart is not getting enough time to oxygenate the blood. And that's a very dangerous side effect of blood pressure medications. So one is, if you're on the medications, you definitely want to get out of it. And there are doctors who can help you to get out of the blood pressure medication. So when you go to lifestyle medicine doctors, they are trained how to how to reduce your medications, and finally, like how to get off medications. So what I would say, you need to go to the right doctor. The other thing is medications, they are not the solution to eradicating your blood pressure. If you are eating the right kind of food, and a lot of people think, okay, I'm eating plant-based, maybe I have eliminated, like as you said, maybe I have eliminated dairy, I have eliminated things, why my blood pressure is still high? It's just because you're eating plant-based doesn't mean that like you are eating what you're supposed to eat, or like you're eating in a way that you're getting more nutrients and like enough calories, because it's very easy to get more calories, but when it comes to nutrients, are you getting enough nutrients? So it's very important to get enough nutrients. So you need to get the key minerals like magnesium, potassium, calcium. Are you getting enough of them? So it's very important for you to see that those are met, because if those are not met, your blood pressure won't be coming down. And that's why I prepared this guide where people can see, where I also provided a meal plan where you can get adequate amounts. So for example, if on a 2000 calorie diet, you're getting more than 1100 milligrams of calcium, you're getting more than 80 to 90 grams of protein, you're getting more than 600 milligrams of magnesium, you're meeting more than the daily dietary requirement for your key minerals, which is very essential, because that's where people struggle, keep wondering, okay, I'm eating right, but why am I not seeing the changes?
That's a great point. Thank you so much for bringing that up. Jennifer is asking, what about low blood pressure? So I guess for folks who have low blood pressure, should they avoid a plant-based diet, or how should they be thinking about how to regulate that and normalize it?
So how is she defining low blood pressure? Because the what we need to see is the what is the gap between the upper number and the lower number. I mean, systolic and diastolic. So that is the main concern, and a lot of people don't realize that having a blood pressure like even less than 100 is normal. So I'm just curious, when she's saying low blood pressure, what is she thinking that is low blood pressure?
Yeah, that's interesting because I know in my practicum, we only talk about regular blood pressure. Like what's healthy is 120 over 80. If it's
Uh-huh.
between 120 to 129, it's elevated, right? That's systolic number.
Mhm.
And then anything above 130 and anything above 80, that's like high blood pressure, right? So no
Mhm.
one, I've never heard of like a medical diagnosis of low, but you're saying like 100 over 80 is even normal and
Normal, yes.
fine.
Yes.
Huh.
And some people, especially pregnant women, would also have blood pressure ranging from 90 over 60, which is normal. So it's yeah, so it's important to know, because there your the pressure number signifies like how easily your blood is flowing into your arteries and other organs. So if your body doesn't have to exert more pressure, that's good. So that like your uh, I mean, so that your blood can flow easily.
So Jennifer says, okay, just a little bit under that. So I guess I have normal blood pressure. Yes, no need to be concerned. You have healthy
Yes.
blood pressure. So that's great. Thank you so much, Dr. Shobha. If there are any other questions, definitely make sure you put it in the chat so we can make sure to answer it before we conclude. But Dr. Shobha, how can folks connect with you online to learn more from you and all you have to offer?
So I do have a Facebook group, and I also have a website. So people can go into my website and contact through my website, contact through email, giftofhealth1@gmail.com, or even support@giftofhealth.org. So they can email me, or if they want to connect me through social media. So I have a Facebook group. It's also called giftofhealth.org. I also have a YouTube channel. So there are different ways that people can connect with me.
Awesome. And are you seeing patients through telemedicine, telehealth?
So I'm glad you asked that question, because as a doctor, like instead of just limiting myself into the four walls of the clinic, I love to do group sessions. So that's why I created programs. So I run like 6-week program, 1 year programs, so where people are in the group setting. It's not one-on-one. Right now I don't do one-on-one sessions, because that's not an efficient way of doing the sessions. And given my time, I mostly do it in the group setting. So people can definitely reach out to me, and and get their things diagnosed and get the help in the group setting.
Okay, cool. So for folks who are interested in getting off blood pressure medication, they would be able to get that guidance and support from you through those avenues.
Yes,
Okay,
definitely.
great.
Yeah, and
Great.
no matter wherever they're located. Yeah.
Awesome. Yes, because I know it can be a struggle for folks with, insurance and dealing with their doctors,
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Not too many doctors apparently are motivated to help their patients get off the blood pressure meds. This seems like the hard out of all the meds. This seems like the hardest one for folks to
Yeah.
like just kind of release, even if they're doing all the things. And you mentioned the side effects, and I'm just wondering too, because I know when you take certain medications, there are nutrient deficiencies that can come from certain medications, and you mentioned like I think magnesium, calcium, potassium are essential, right, to have healthy blood pressure. So if you are on these meds and your body doesn't need these meds, is it possible that you could be creating some nutrient deficiencies that keeps you in this cycle where you are unable to get off the meds? Is that
So
even
I mean,
feasible?
so the thing is, blood pressure medications, they don't cause nutrient deficiencies, but your diet, like if you're not getting enough nutrients through your diet, um, it would be hard to control your blood pressure.
Okay. So special focus on the diet. All right. Awesome,
Yeah.
Dr. Shobha. Thank you so much. This has been such an eye-opening conversation. If you're looking for a natural, effective way to lower your blood pressure, you definitely want to make sure you get your hands on her guide inside the bundle, because there are way more details than we were able to cover from that dietary perspective, but also the lifestyle perspective that we didn't even talk about today. So you can get your hands on that in the bundle. There's like close to $6,000 worth of value in this bundle, and it's only available for $49, which is crazy. Talk about a sale. It's like 99% off, right? So we're bringing you
Yes.
an exclusive bundle with all of these things. Some of them are brand new resources that folks haven't been available before. People haven't seen them before, and it's all expert resources, recipes, practical tools just to help you succeed. So again, you can download Dr. Shobha's book, Natural Strategies to Lower Your Blood Pressure, in the bundle today. Dr. Shobha, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and empowering us to take control of our health. I appreciate you and the work that you do. And to everyone watching, take action today. Your health is worth it. And thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Have a blessed day. Bye.
Thank you so